Hello, welcome to July 14th, 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily good life meditation. This is an exercise that I do each and every day at 5:30 a.m. I do this to think about my life. Consider this like an online live journal entry. I'll be doing a couple of things, a bit of a disclaimer at first, and then we'll launch into a reflection on the last 24 hours. Then I'll go over the objectives of my creed and one of the principles, and then I'll talk about the coming day. But first, let's do a quick check of the weather. You can see, wow, it's a little bit interesting. It's 22 degrees and just under 90% humidity. So it's interesting how they have this laid out. You can see that the humidity is in the green zone there. That's nice. The humidity is in the red zone. The temperature is in the green zone. So, and you can really feel it when both humidity and temperature are in the respective green zones. It really makes a difference. So it does feel a little, is the word wet and is cloying? That doesn't feel like the right word. Maybe I don't know what that word means. As soon as the temperature starts to rise, this humidity will be too much. But I know that from experience, because I watch this every day, the humidity will soon begin to drop. Maybe I'll remember to try to take a look at it. So let's make a note of it. It might be kind of fun to note at the start of the exercise, temp and humidity are at 22 degrees and 86%. Let's see what it is if I can remember. Let's check what it is at the end. All right, welcome to new subscribers to the channel. There sure are a lot of you. It's very interesting how a subscription count comes in as soon when I start making those retiring in Japan videos. They really boost the subscriber count. So I got a lot of people over the weekend. Welcome to the channel. My name is Kurt. Quick bio. I'm a 61-year-old American living in Japan, Shizuoka City, Japan, in a quiet little area of Shizuoka called the Valley of Tea, formerly known as Yada. I live here with my wife Yumiko. We bought this house here in the valley. We've been here Yumiko's been here a year and a little more than a year, and I've been here 6 months since we retired and moved from our lives in the United States in Southern California here to Japan, where we've been establishing ourselves. Our daughter Emily, now grown and on her own, lives in Tokyo, doing her best life up there. She'll be down to visit over the weekend. That's us. This video though it's taking place in Japan, is not a Japan-focused video. This is my personal journal entry. You're welcome to watch and leave comments. I don't read or respond to comments usually until the end, though. Also, I do talk about sensitive subjects here, so just be forewarned about that. I talk about death, namely. So if that's a sensitive subject for you, just heads up. And thank you for your support. Watching my videos, being members on YouTube, and supporting on Patreon mean a lot to me. Thank you. All right, let's get into it. For yesterday, I keep notes every day, and for the last 24 hours, I have one simple note here that simply says safe zone. And what that's referring to is the fact that when I make these videos, when I'm talking about the last 24 hours, I'm not giving you a blow-by-blow account of what happened. Breakfast, followed by a walk, followed by, shopping or whatever. But instead, what I'm looking for is, in the course of the last 24 hours, what interesting events, it doesn't matter if they're interesting or not, what events happened where I found myself either behaving very well, performing well in the face of a challenge or an unexpected turn, or I didn't. This is the more interesting one, where I didn't behave very well. Something caught me off guard and I wasn't prepared, and I behaved in a way or said something that I wish I hadn't. That's very interesting. They're both very interesting to me. Good behavior and poor behavior, because I can learn from and try to facilitate more of the former, and maybe learn from and avoid repeating the latter, right? So when I say safe zone, what I'm referring to is the fact that I had well, let me take a look at what my goal for yesterday was. My goal yesterday was the note, because I always make a note about what I plan to do that day. It was a Sunday yesterday, and my note is free. So what I wound up doing yesterday with that free time was something that I'd meant to do, and I will probably begin to fold into my regular Sundays, which is cleaning up my iPhone. Um, I make a lot of content. I make at least I make at least one or more videos a day, typically in the Retiring in Japan video series, which requires lifting the camera and turning the record button on a lot, taking a lot of photos, which you don't see the photos so much, but I do take a lot of photos as well. And I have a phone with a very large memory, but if I don't manage that, it gets a little unwieldy, and I need time to manage that. And I haven't, up until now, for my whole life, almost my whole 19-year career as a YouTuber, I just kind of find time when I can to clean my phone. Yesterday, I had the idea, since I was free yesterday, which was to just literally sit at my sofa there, turn on Netflix, which is not an often thing that I do. I'm not good at watching anything. Turning on a show that required only peripheral attention. If I'm watching a Japanese show, well, I need to give it more attention to try to follow along. If I'm watching a show that I don't know very well, likewise, or that I'm interested in, I give it my attention. I'm not good at multitasking. But if I watch a show that I'm only mildly interested in, that's in my own language, then I can do something else at the same time. So I chose Better Call Saul, a show that I'm not particularly interested in, but I thought that I might be kind of entertaining as a background thing. And so I turned that on, and I watched that in the it was happening in the background. And I sat there on my phone all day long and went through my phone and deleted old files and sorted the things, that put them into folders that I wanted to keep for photos and clips that I wanted to keep. I pretty much consumed a good portion of the day yesterday doing that. With the only notable exceptions were I went shopping at the supermarket, the drugstore, and we went out for lunch together with my wife. Otherwise, we were home all day. I went out to the yard to do a little bit of weeding, and I watered the plants. And I took some long walks, some dog walks. Other than that, I was pretty much here all day, lifted some weights, did a little bit of, exercise. Pretty much here all day. That's why I called it a safe zone. Because when I live a day like that, and it's very, very rare that I live a day like that, what am I safe from? I'm safe from the challenges and opportunities that put me in a position, or that caused me to find myself in a position where I need to either behave well or have an opportunity to instinctively, so to speak, behave well, decide well, and speak well. Get what I mean? It's when I'm doing things that are out of the ordinary. Like, for example, on a Sunday, if we decide that instead of staying home, we're going to drive to Fuji City and go to an antique fair, and I'm going to drive, and I'm going to have the family with me, and Yoko's going to be in the back, and you know how I feel about backseat drivers, and we're going to be driving in unfamiliar territory, and you know what a bad driver I am, and I'm going to be doing things and going to a strange restaurant where I don't know the menu, and I'm going to have a hard time picking stuff out. You see, all of the various things that normally in the normal course of a day would give me an opportunity to exercise the principles in my book in order to help me to align with the objectives in my book. That's a lot of work. Trying to live well in the course of a day. That's the type of living that yields the notes in the notebook that give me things to talk about every morning when I do this video. Yesterday I had little to no of that, none of that. It was a safe zone all day. Just basically nothing happens here, sitting here with Better Call Saul playing in the background, barely paying attention to it as I proceeded to clean my phone. So I had a safe day. It was also kind of a cautionary day, because It reminded me of the way that I don't want to live, which is I, I'm not ready to settle in to a routine existence. Dare I say a mundane existence, maybe? Because watching Netflix feels a little bit mundane to me. I'm not a fan. Or YouTube, for that matter. Oh, nods of respect to YouTube. Put out there, says the guy who is a YouTuber. So that's what yesterday was. It was a free day. I made good use of my plan to be a free day. I wasn't challenged very much, but I got a lot of good work done. It was such a good day, in fact, that I think I'm going to try to make every Sunday, unless there's something happening, unless we have something objective to do. Like this weekend, our daughter's coming to visit, so we'll do something with her. Unless there's something to do, I'll try to make every Sunday. I'll try to do this every Sunday. It's a good work to clean up my phone. So that's all there is for that. There was no appearance yesterday of the thing that I'm calling the deep balance. That didn't arrive yesterday. The peaceful, easy feeling was kind of there. That's an interesting thing to note. I didn't feel the PEF at all sitting on my sofa with Better Call Saul playing in the background, cleaning up my phone. What it felt like, that experience felt like doing dishes when you didn't necessarily want to do the dishes. I like doing dishes, so that probably wasn't a good example. But doing some chore that you have to do, mowing the lawn, doing the dishes, whatever it is that you have to do that you don't necessarily enjoy, and getting it done. That's what that felt like yesterday. So that's interesting. I wonder if there's something I can tease out of that. Why is that the peaceful, easy feeling didn't arrive on a free day, nor the deep balance? I remember when I was a long time ago working in an old age home when I was in college, working in an old age home with the oldsters, and they would sit there. This was long before Netflix or the internet. This was like 1985, and they would sit there and watch TV all day long. They had nothing else to do, and there was nothing peaceful, easy feeling about any of that. It was a vacant activity to fill and kill the time as the day went by. Why would I expect, and even though we might say that it could be relaxing to sit and watch TV, clearly I don't find it so. I don't enjoy it. It feels, watching television, and remember, this is my own personal journal, so I can address the world from my perspective as I see it. So, I understand that there are people out there who deeply enjoy watching television, who deeply enjoy YouTube and Netflix and sitting on the sofa and letting the day go by. There's a bird. A little visitor. That bird's been showing up from time to time. Maybe it's got a nest nearby. Anyway, I know there's people who deeply enjoy that type of thing. So kudos to you, hats off to you, but I'm not one of them. So, but I did notice that pretty much to a man and a woman, when I was working in the old age home, nobody seemed to enjoy TV. It was just there to fill the hours before death arrived, to put it bluntly. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised that there would be no PEF and no deep balance coming from spending moments doing things that I consider to be kind of a poor use of time. No surprise there. So what is it? What is it that elicits the PEF, and what is it that elicits the deep balance? Well, I think I know what it is. It's it's living it's living it's living a life engaged with the moment. Sounds so touchy-feely. I feel the PEF when I'm going out with my wife and I'm driving exactly the things I was just saying before. The stuff that gives me the opportunity to be challenged, doing that stuff provides a fertile ground for the peaceful, easy feeling to arrive. Taking on the challenges, and I note them through the day as they happen. For example, if I'm at the supermarket and I find myself in a situation where I need to, like it happened yesterday. It did happen yesterday. There was a circumstance where we were shopping at the big supermarket, and I needed to get something, and I told Yumiko I'm going to get it, and instead of it, and I didn't know where it was, and I didn't even know what it looked like, and I can't read the writing, but so instead of leaning on my wife to do that for me, I said simply was, I'm going to go take care of this. So I took off on the store on a hunt, and I found it. So now it was a minor thing, but that's the type of thing that, and I guess I had a moment of kind of satisfaction when I found it and brought it back and dropped it in the thing. It was like when I was a kid and my mom would be shopping and she would, can you go get a half gallon of milk, Kurt? And I would go get the half gallon, bring it back triumphantly and put it in there, and I did it. It's being actively engaged in the world. That's what does it. So I guess I did have a moment of, it wasn't PEF. That didn't yield PEF. That was too average. It was just normal. But it was interesting to note. Okay, safe zone yesterday. Let's go over the creed, which consists of the following 8 objectives. You can read these in my book, Going Alone, in the chapter titled The Good Life. Yeah, you can read it for free at goingalone.org. The first of my objectives is to be always ready to die. This means that I need to have my life in order, organized, cataloged, and my affairs basically such that my family, my wife and daughter can take over if I leave, and my relationships in such a state that I basically leave no one behind to whom I wish they might have said, I wish I could have had one last talk with him, you know what I mean? 2 is to make good and effective use of my time so that I'm living my life well every day. 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. That's precisely these 8 objectives and the 35 attendant principles. Number 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions, so I respond well when things get tricky. Number 5 is to perform good actions relative to my creed. Number 6 is to recognize true limits and true opportunities. 7 is to do just one thing at a time and do those things slowly and deliberately and carefully. And number 8 is to keep my balance. All right, one principle. I think yesterday I read the Homunculus, the Anchorhold, right? I think I put a dog ear mark on it. Oh yeah, the next principle is called the home of good and evil. And there's a quote here from Aristotle. Activity in accordance with virtue is virtue. Well put. The home of good and evil. Didn't forget. Well, kind of forgot. The home of good and evil. A catalog of right and wrong maintained by that little mortal within my head. Remember the homunculus that we talked about 2 days ago? Two principles earlier. A catalog of right and wrong maintained by that little mortal within my head, containing both opinion and judgment, and suggestive of a platform of subjective responsibility. The homunculus owns this list and has, so imagine the homunculus having a catalog of right and wrong, right, that it maintains, which is exactly what happens when we have a mind that holds on to a creed. The homunculus owns this list and has the responsibility to develop and vet its contents, as well as reconcile these with the reasoned opinions of others. So we have to manage our values according to our own internal assessment, but we also have to, if we put those values out for others, we have to look at how they respond and assess those values, because we're looking for good observations of critical evaluation that might help us to tune, improve, discard, or adopt new values. Good and evil then become perspective and opinion, because this is a secular worldview, right? So we're not attributing or utilizing good and value from on high. We are identifying, labeling, cataloging good and evil, good per our own experience and values in the discourse that we have with others. So these things are indeed subjective. Good and evil then become perspective and opinion, dangerously subjective, yet also subject to the truth-finding powers of reason, honesty, and objectivity. Since we can't appeal to on high, we have to use our own capabilities of reason, honesty, and objectivity to weigh out what truth from wishful thinking. And now there's a critical distinction there between reason, which is the tool that we use to determine if what we believe is true or sound, and sound. Honesty, being truthful with ourselves and others, and objectivity, looking at things from many perspectives to get a good holistic view. Argument and discussion are the tools of reconciliation when such opinions differ, and consensus reached in this way has more authority and force than the proclamations and commandments of 1,000 fictitious gods. I would weigh a good, well-reasoned, communally agreed upon principle against a commandment from on high any day of the week. That is the home of good and evil. And the home of good and evil, then, the reason I labeled it as such, the home of good and evil, is that the home is that it's here. It's not in the Ark of the Covenant. It's not, on some, etched in stone or in the clouds above. It's what we decide, what we discuss, consider, and decide upon here. That is the home of good and evil, managed by the homunculus within the Anchorhold. There, I put all three together. Okay, as for the next 24 hours, I'm meeting. This happens a lot. At least once a month now, I'm meeting viewers from YouTube, and I have a routine that I do for that. I meet them downtown at Nana's Green Tea near Shizuoka Station. So I'm meeting someone today who is a viewer who they describe themselves as being, it's difficult for them, I won't give details, but it's difficult for them to experience the wilderness on their own, so they vicariously do it through my videos, namely the videos where I'm out and about. And I know I haven't been doing that a lot lately, so and I've had maybe 5 people over the 19 years I've been on YouTube that have written to me in this various situation. For one reason or another, they can't adventure in the world, and they do it vicariously through me and other YouTubers like me. I'm meeting such a person today. So we're going to meet downtown, have tea or lunch or whatever they want to do, and that'll be nice. I'm looking forward to that. That's it. Let's go through comments. And how are we doing on time? Pretty good. I need to leave just a little earlier to do morning exercise because we're meeting in a different place today. And I think it's because we're meeting by the river, and I think it's because the summer break is starting soon, and mothers will be sending their children to come join the oldsters for morning exercise, and we're moving it up there to be away from the road so the kids will be safer, no cars. Good morning, Tim. Tim says, Good morning. I was chatting to a retired neighbor today about how quickly time passes in retirement, and they came out with this saying, which I kind of like. Ooh, I can't wait. Time is the only currency you spend without knowing your balance. Whoa. Use it wisely. Time is the only currency you spend without knowing your balance. Wow. That's a blockbuster, Tim. Wow, I gotta say it 2 more times because I want to remember this. Time is the only currency we spend without knowing our balance. Use it wisely. Time is the only currency we spend without knowing the balance. Use it wisely. Amazing. And you're right. It's amazing how it goes so fast like that. I think last week passed in 2 days. I'm pretty sure that there were only 2 days last week. Tim says, it was definitely a safe zone for me today as the temperature topped 35°C. That's hot. Hopefully it will break by Tuesday and cool down. Find it frustrating when too hot. I know. Bjorn Volk, welcome to. Hey, you became a supporter on YouTube. Thank you. I really do appreciate that, Bjorn. Thank you. Wow. I tip my hat to you. Tim says, I find the PDF comes more easily. PEF, sorry, not PDF. Peaceful, easy feeling comes more easily when I'm doing something productive that I'm enjoying, whereas strangely less so if kind of dead, brain dead, relaxing. You would think the opposite. Yeah, exactly. I would think the opposite too. And you're exactly right. It comes of doing something productive that I'm enjoying. You know, I think, and I'm taking just a quick aside, I'm reminded of the contractor that we hired to do the work on this house. I've mentioned him before. Kushi-san is his name, and he's got to be 73 years old. He's a contractor and an architect, and he certainly could retire. Yet he stays in the game, and he was my first kind of a role model for a kind of it's in his, for whatever he's got going on is more than PEF. It's kind of this effervescent bliss that's going on. He's not very tall. He's a short man, but there's an effervescence about him that makes him stand like a giant. He's like he towers over you with his enjoyment of life. I mean, I've rarely seen anybody who so consistently and evidently, obviously, is just enjoying the fact of existing. And it's not because he's escaped away from his career to go spend his day on the golf course. It's because he was one of the lucky ones that found himself a career being a contractor that he really enjoys, and he enjoys being a part of the community. And he's a general contractor, so he hired all of the people that came to work on our house, the plumber, the electrician, the demolition team, and he orchestrated and managed it all. And you could just see he relished it, and everybody respects him and knows him. And he was kind of a model for me that clearly PEF, or even a joy of retirement, which I haven't found that. I wouldn't call what I'm experiencing a joy. It's more like it's like when you first go on vacation, the first couple of days of just like, unwinding. That's how it feels right now. I'm lucky if I get a PEF day. And by the way, just couch it. I know that all of this stuff, I'm very lucky to have experienced any of this stuff. I'm very lucky to be free. I'm very lucky to live in a country where I have these things. I know all these things. So these are first world issues, but they're issues. They're mine, right? They're the things that I'm facing, right? So I'm reporting from the local perspective. But I'm hoping that as we, maybe with AI arriving, will help us to enter a world of solving the problem of scarcity for as many as possible. Whereas hopefully in the future, more people will face the types of simple challenges, simple, so to speak. It seems simple in perspective, but it seems very significant to those of us who are experiencing it. The simple challenge of trying to find peace. Anyway, Tim, building on what you said there, yeah. And boy, I think a lot about that. And I'll confess, there's a part of me that is tempted sometimes to want to return to work of some sort to assuage. You know why, Tim? Because work, I think I just figured it out. A good day of work is an easy fix. A good day of work because Tim, you and I both know how good it feels to have a good day of work. I wonder if you would agree that if we could, for example, go back to work and do it on our terms, maybe just part-time, 4 hours a day, doing something, with light responsibility, like Kushi-san, right? Being a part-time contractor, and get that good fix of, of a good day. We did good stuff, but not have to put in the whole 8 hours or take on the full responsibility or be the point person in charge of everything like we both were, right? That's interesting. An easy win, an easy fix. Is that cheating though? Feels a little like cheating, doesn't it? You know what also, Tim? And I'm addressing this to Tim because you were the one that you added your comments here that triggered this line of thought. But anyone else who's interested, you're welcome to these thoughts too. As much as an easy win, like if I could go to Fiverr or something like that and find some sort of part-time project management work, do it at a contract basis, 10, 20 hours a week, come out of each day with 3 or 4 hours of project management work in my belt, good day of work. That would feel good, and nice to have a little money, but it would also mostly it would feel good. But you know what, Tim? I wouldn't be moving forward, would I? I'd be resting my hat exactly where I've been resting my hat these last 40 years, finding my sense of peace and fulfillment in the thing that's all I've ever known, which is hard work. If I don't work to get beyond that now, I never will. Doesn't mean I won't. Doesn't mean one day I won't come to this video and tell you all that I've taken a part-time job. It's definitely possible. I think about it each and every day. Robert says hi. Robert is Believe in Yourself. Says hi to Tim and Bjorn. Sorry. Tim says hi to Robert. Tim says, I think also with the PEF, I find it non-existent if I don't have something planned for the next day. Perhaps it's because I get annoyed with myself with losing a day that isn't productive. Wow, that's a hearty observation. I need to think about that. I think I experienced the same thing, Tim. Maybe that's why every day at the end I have the next 24 hours and I kind of plan. No, I don't do that. I don't do this. That next 24 hours is something I come up with at the start of the day. I go to bed without really a good idea about what I'm going to do the next day. What if we try mapping out the whole week on a Sunday? You know what? I have this. Hold on just a second. I can talk to you while I walk away. I'm wearing my microphone. I've got a whiteboard. For those of you that might be familiar with these videos from way, way back in the day, Evelyn, if you're out there, I know Evelyn used to watch back then. When I lived in America, and I would sit in my chair. I remember I would pull out a little whiteboard like this, and I would have my little pen, and I would write notes down, and I would take notes beforehand, kind of like similar to this, but I did it here. What if, Tim, I was to map out the week on a Sunday, in addition to spending Sunday cleaning my phone, map out the week? A simple calendar, right? A retired guy's forecast calendar. What I plan to do each of the days roughly outlined. Do you think that would be a catalyst of sorts to feeling more productive? Thank you for sharing this observation, Tim. Michael Littlejohn. Hey, Michael. Hi there. Robert says hi to Michael. Tim says, yes, agree in a good day of work. I think, unfortunately for me, I was in a job I didn't enjoy. I think that's the crux, I guess, Tim. Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. My friend Jim, he likes being an English teacher, and he's told me that he lives here and in Japan. We used to work together, and he tells me he never plans to retire because he enjoys what he does and plans to keep it up. Ray, hi Ray. You have enough space to expand your garden into a job, if that is what you crave, without the required commitment. You're right, I could. But Ray, and maybe I'm limiting myself, but the part of me that is still, gardening, even if I did garden, expanded it into selling produce or something, it's not quite the same. There's part of me, there's part of me that wants a job. I think you know what I mean. Erica, hi Erica. Hi Kurt. Hey Sarah, hi Sarah. I agree. Work structure, a good day of work, you feel like you've accomplished something. It can sometimes be harder to achieve that in free time. It really can. Boy, you guys, this discussion this morning we're having here, man, I might get out the help wanted pages. I'm, I'm serious. This morning, no kidding, over on LinkedIn, and I do need to watch the time and get going soon. Over on LinkedIn, I'm active on LinkedIn. One of my I used to, in addition, I did project management. One of the big projects that I did was for the Ventura City Fire Department, and I did a large project with the fire marshal there and his team. Basically, what they were doing was when they would do inspections, fire inspections, they would go out with clipboards and pens, and they would go inspect people's houses to make sure that they have a proper border of space around their house for burn control, protection. Checking restaurants to make sure enough fire extinguishers and sprinklers, and they would come up with reports, and then submit those reports for compliance, right, or issue violations. So I did a project with the City of Ventura Fire Department to give them tablets and have the system all out in the cloud. And we did that. That was a 2-year project that we did to basically give take away the fire inspectors' clipboards and give them laptops that they could then go around connected to Wi-Fi or connected to the internet, that they could go and do their work, right? And that was a very rewarding project. This is part of why I loved what I did. As hard as it was, I loved what I did. I mean, that kind of thing, like having that in my work record. I mean, I really feel like I made the world. I helped to make the world a better place, because the fire inspection team, there weren't enough of them, and they didn't have enough budget, and they couldn't do all the inspections that they needed to do every year because they weren't efficient enough. So giving them this system would help make them efficient in 100 different ways. That kind of satisfaction, I don't get that out of gardening. I don't get that out of doing anything other than the hard work that I always did as an IT project manager, or as an analyst, as a business systems analyst. As hard as it was, as stressful as it was incredibly rewarding. It was like cushy sun coming in, my contractor coming in and, building a new unit bath and orchestrating it all. And even though it was really hard at times, it was deeply satisfying. I think everybody that's watching, if you've seen the greater measure of today's video, you get the feel. Even teaching English, as much as I hate teaching English, does that as well. I'm just going to let that sit there. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that comment. Robert says hi to Erica and Sarah. Robert says hi to Okoyama Ray. Tim says, I guess I plan for each day just so I keep some structure and keep busy. You could plan for the week so long as you have enough to fill the week out. You know the score, Tim. That's exactly right. I'm sure that after I'd get about to Tuesday and be like, well, I got nothing, right? Maybe that's the thing. Maybe I should change my life in such a way that I got something. I mean, I could fill it each day with my Retiring in Japan video journal, which is turning out to be very good in every way. The antique store doesn't do this. Boy, I'm glad we're having this talk. The antique store is just a hobby. It's like collecting stamps. It's fun. It's and all that, but it's not deeply rich and satisfying. Boy, I'm up. Guys, this talk today just might send me to the wanted. I might go looking for a job, a part-time job. Okay, don't hold me to it. This is just me talking out my side of my mouth, motivated by a feeling. Sarah says, I find I need to feel some level of productiveness and achievement on a day off to feel like I've had a good day. It's hard to relax without feeling like you have wasted time. Yes, Sarah, you and I are in complete alignment and agreement there. I don't, I hate feeling like I've wasted time. And wasted time to me feels like a day that I didn't leverage or utilize in a good way. You know, I'm not a religious man, but if I was, I would say if I was a religious man, I would probably couch it like this. If God gave me the blessing of my good health and another life in a day today, then how did I make good use of that time, right? How did I make it a good day? So I'm not religious, so I have to simply ask myself, I have the good fortune of being alive today, you know, and healthy today. How did I make it a good day? Watching Bugs Bunny cartoons ain't gonna do it for me. I guess it's our ingrained work ethic. Yeah, I wonder if I'm sure that's the case, Sarah. Probably the way we were raised, right? You know, I see a lot of the Japanese people here out there in the deep villages. I mean, they're hard workers, but they're not. And I think the word that I ran into this week was exponential. You know, in America, especially in Southern California, I mean, I was raised to be exponential. I mean, our families pointed us, we had this house that overlooked the greater Los Angeles area, and I could look down in the valley and all those worker bees down there doing their thing. And it was like, it wasn't enough just to get out there and work. You had to be exponential in your work. The countryside of Japan, it's enough to get up early in the morning, do a good day of work, and then go home and relax. And the weekend, to hell with it. Seems more mature. Sarah, there's Sarah. Hi, Sarah. I mean, well, you're saying hi all. I guess you're just responding to everybody. Yeah, okay. Very true, Sarah and Tim. Sarah says to Tim. No, very true, Tim says to Sarah. Tim says, I do feel the wasted time aspect is way more important to me now in retirement than when I worked. Crazy to say, probably as it's my precious time now. That's an interesting observation, right? If it was wasted time during the work paradigm, right, then it was kind of on our employers to make good utilization of our time, but now it's on us, right? Well, you all have given me so much to think about. Let's do a quick check of temperature and humidity before I sign off and go do radio exercise. So when we started this 42 minutes ago, the temperature was 22 degrees. It's now 24 degrees. And humidity is, I would say, it was at 86% before. It was 80%. So it was 22 and 86%, and now it's 24 and 80%. So temperature is rising, humidity is falling, which is good. Temperature is about to go into the red zone. Humidity should be dropping down into the green zone. Should be an interesting day. Any more comments before I sign off? The less you have, the more you want it. Interesting. Thanks for joining me, everybody. This has been especially interesting. Tim says 22 here now at 10:15. 22. So you're in a sweet, pretty nice spot for temperature, Tim. What's the humidity? I wonder. Do you have a gauge that tells you the humidity as well? Probably not so bad, right? I mean, the UK is not. I never read Dr. Johnson complaining about the humidity. I would love to read that, right? Damned Boswell. Today it is so sultry, and one cannot step outside without the beads of perspiration rising fast upon the forehead and brow. Two, let us get to the coffee shop, where we will meet the other gentlemen and enjoy this a respite from this humid, acrid feeling. 65% humidity. What do you think of my Dr. Johnson imitation? Tim, just as a sign off, if you want to have fun, I won't do it anymore, but the earlier version of ChatGPT 4.0 from like a year ago, it would actually, I would ask it to talk like Dr. Johnson, and it would do it. It would try to put on that big booming voice and that early British accent. It was amazing. There you go. You should be an actor. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Be safe, but not too safe. Have a wonderful day. And thank you so much, Bjorn, for becoming a supporter of the channel. I really do appreciate that. I promise I'm going to try to get out and have an adventure this week. Take care. What I mean by that is that's kind of the response, you know. I have people support me so that I get out there. That helps fuel the adventures, puts gas in the car, and a corn dog in my mouth to go out into the woods. Take care, everybody. Bye bye. Take care. Bye, Tim.